Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and I'd like to welcome you back to read some more stories from Reddit. Today we're going to be covering one of my main subjects, nice guys. These aren't guys who are actually nice, but guys who are hoping to get something out of their nice gestures. You can definitely see their true colors when they get rejected. That's the true calling card of the nice guy. Anyway, you'll hopefully know by the end of the video. Let's just get started with more nice guys from Reddit. We're going to be starting today by reading some posts from Reddit Nice Guys. Hey. Hi. I just need to get this off my chest, but ever since high school I've had a crush on you, but you've always had a boyfriend. But yeah, it's always nagging me and I felt like I should tell you. Maybe we can talk and go on a date, haha. Thanks for telling me if it helped you, but I'm not into dating anyone. But you're really nice and you'll find someone. I'm just kidding, I would never be into a person like you, ugly. To be fair, she's the one who called him nice, he didn't actually say it. But calling someone ugly seconds after hitting on them is never very convincing. As the OP says, I rejected him because I already had feelings for my current boyfriend. But this nice guy was always so nice in high school, so I was genuinely shocked by this reaction. LOL, also we never even knew each other that well, so I don't know what someone like you means. Well then, maybe I should be sending messages to random girls from high school I didn't know very well. I never comment, but you are the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I know you'll never see this, but I am the only one here who would actually treat you how you deserve to be treated, like the queen you are. But alas, you are probably already in a relationship that you secretly hate but can't break free from due to family pressure or fear of physical retaliation from your lover. Ugh, let's just get away from all of this. DM me if you want to make the most of what we have left of this so-called life. Please notice me. I think the please notice me pretty much sums it all up. I have to say I'm very loyal, just like dogs are. Not all men are like that. When I'm with someone, I'm loyal, and in my past relationships it was always the women leaving. Not all guys are like that, and I have to say, you're beautiful like an angel. Not all men is so tempting to say that he had to say it twice. She said she needed a break to figure things out, as in if she really wanted to continue to be a part of the DS community, and also to take care of her mental health. I tried my best to help her. Not just now, but I was always there for her, and I made sure she knew I cared about her every day. This was 3 days ago, and I've cried for 2 of those days. The thing is, she still continued to post not safe for work DDLG stuff on her Instagram account and retweeted on her Twitter account. DDLG is daddy dumb little girl. It's like an age play thing. I know what it is because Lucas tried to join the community on FetLife and got called out by a guy named Dildo Gaggins for being a creep. Good times. I've been very bummed and confused about the whole thing, but I messaged her late last night after we argued and basically told her that I didn't believe this was a break, but that we were over, and I went ahead and ended it. I tried to be supportive. The only thing I asked for was 1 or 2 more nudes, and I would support her and I would still be there for her. I know that's not important in a relationship, but it was important to me, especially being in a long-distance relationship. But yeah, I'm no longer in a relationship and I haven't cried today. This guy offers his full support as long as you send him a couple nudes. Sorry, a couple more nudes. He presumably already had some, but that's a normal thing to get from someone you're breaking up with, right? What a nice guy. Hey, there's something I haven't understood. Why do us nice guys who are gentlemen, how come we are the ones that get played with, our emotions get messed with, or we get ignored when we try to talk to someone? Yo, why is that? I want to know the answer, because it makes us feel like shit, and I don't know if you people think it's funny or what, but if you can't accept who we gentlemen are as people, then don't even go through the trouble to even say hi to us. Bros before hoes has been the saying, and always will be. Unless one of y'all changed our minds, that is going to be our saying until then. Truth hurts, and I hope it hurts as bad as you ladies make us feel. Bitch. You see, gentlemen always call women bitches. Like, it's not bad enough to label yourself a nice guy. No, gotta be a gentleman, too. Alright, let's read today's story. It comes to us from Reddit Nice Guy Stories, the place where you too can leave your stories about nice guys. Now, this is one of those ones that uses letters for names, and that annoys people, so I'm going to go ahead and replace them with names in my script. Nerdy nice guy quickly spirals into a terrifying jealousy when woman he's into shows interest in someone else. Before we start, this story begins a month or so ago. The more extreme parts of this story took place rather recently, and the story still has room for new developments in the future, so if there's ever more to this story, I will be sure to make another post and link it to this one. The key players in this story: G, the man himself, the titular nice guy. We're going to call him Greg after one of the few YouTubers I actually hate. C, the poor woman that this guy just won't leave alone. Also girl I'm totally into. And we're going to call her Catherine. R, their friend. Can be Rachel. And then of course there's me. In any part where anybody else refers to me, we'll just call me E, which shall be Elaine, for our purposes. There, that should make the story a bit more palatable. Some background. I am a transgender woman. I've been out for 2 years. I also happen to be pansexual. I was at a convention that I frequent every year it's held. I was going with some friends of mine, as I always do. Day 1, Friday, was just a normal day until the night. See, there was a shuttle going between the hotel and the convention. I was under the impression that there was going to be a rave that night, as per the usual at that con. Sadly, this time there wasn't. Still, something prompted me to get on that bus. I just don't know what. To this day, I still don't know exactly why I did it, but even with the shitstorm that was about to ensue, I couldn't be happier that I did it. Once I stepped onto the bus, somebody asked me if they could take a picture of me. I was cosplaying as Marnie from Pokemon when we arrived to the con. This person being Catherine. I thought she was pretty cute, and I love it when people stop me for pictures, so I happily obliged. One important detail I noticed about her was a button on her shirt which read something to the effect of, "Gay as fuck. She's a lesbian." When we got off the bus and arrived at the con, she introduced me to her friends, Greg and Rachel. Greg didn't give off any of the typical nice guy tropes to begin with. He seemed genuinely kind. Or so I thought. I quickly became acquainted with the three of them, but spent most of my time with Catherine. Greg hung around the two of us pretty much the whole time, while Rachel went off to do her own thing. I instantly noticed that Greg would pay for anything Catherine wanted. We were at a swap meet, so I guess that was nice of him. He did mention how nice he was once, and casually brought up how much he'd spent on Catherine, but I didn't put too much stock into it since I learned that the two had been friends pretty much since forever. The first bombshell anybody dropped during this ordeal was when Catherine said, kind of unprompted, "Everybody here has a crush on me." I blushed a bit and stepped back, a bit embarrassed. I had just met this woman, but I couldn't deny that I thought she was pretty cute and kind. At the time, I didn't really give too much thought to the idea that Greg and Rachel also liked Catherine, but looking back, it should have been a red flag. After the three of us hung out for some time, Catherine asked me to add them all on Facebook and even invited me to hang out with them in their hotel room. The night which ensued was fun, but there wasn't a lot to tell as far as important events in the story. However, I did find out that Greg paid for Catherine and Rachel's con tickets, which is going to come up again as well. Greg also kept mentioning how nice he was, and how he was a pacifist, which I guess was a little bit of a red flag, but I didn't put too much stock into that one either. So then Saturday begins. After leaving the hotel room, I honestly spent little time with the rest of the group as I tried to reconnect with the friends I came with. But later on in the evening, I met up with Catherine and Rachel again, and Greg quickly caught up with us. After hitting up the rave, we all went back to the hotel room. Greg then told us that the hotel scammed him out of his money as his account was overdrawn, and that he, Catherine, and Rachel would pack up their stuff and go home before Sunday. They all looked dismayed about the news, but I really wanted to spend more time with them, and honestly with Catherine. So I helped pay off Greg's overdraft fees and they stayed another night. This detail also becomes important. Okay, this Catherine, as I'm calling her, really should not be letting this guy pay for her to go to a con like this. It doesn't mean she deserves anything weird he does, but he's never going to stop if you keep getting him to pay for things. You have to be like stern with nice guys, usually. So then Sunday hits. It's another fairly uneventful day, but then the night hits and I'm in their hotel again. Catherine and I are talking more, and I'm really starting to feel like maybe I should spend more time with this woman. But then Greg decides they should leave that night, just in case his account gets overdrawn again. So he calls a Lyft and I help them all pack, saying my goodbyes and hoping to see Catherine again. Greg is nice enough to walk me to my hotel room, and I confide to him that I like Catherine. But he just tells me to stay friends with her and not to pursue a relationship, which I understand, we met not too long ago. Or at least I thought I understood when he first told me this. So the next day hit, and Catherine and I instantly began texting nonstop. I hadn't been this invested in a conversation in a long time. I don't want to go on too long here, but basically we could not stop texting each other. This wouldn't have been noteworthy to the story if Greg hadn't spent the night at her house. The two of them are close friends, so it didn't strike me as weird at all. But he kept messaging me about how he felt ignored by her, because she was lost in conversation with me. And honestly, I was ready to just shove him to the side too. It was all about Catherine on my end. So this goes on for a while. Every time he knows Catherine and I are texting in private, he goes on these rants about how he feels lonely, how he doesn't have anyone to talk to anymore, how he feels I stole Catherine from him. Stole? Dude, she was never yours. Yeah, this sounds really awkward. He actually used that word, stole her from him? Stole her from him? I mean, he's the one who was physically at her house. One of these days, Catherine tells me all about what Greg is actually like, and her overall complaints about the dude. He's gross, he's unhygienic, he's obsessed with her. He spends all his money on lavish gifts for her and hopes that it'll win her over. Oh, and then he goes and reminds her of all the things he does for her whenever he wants something from her. And apparently he gets jealous every time she takes an interest in somebody. Some time passes, and Catherine and I make plans to hang out at my place. Of course, Greg doesn't take the news very well. While in voice chat, this dude blows up and tells us that if she is going to my house, then he's going too. And he won't take no for an answer. He's already decided. When Catherine and I calmly explain that we want some alone time together, he gets angry again and doesn't listen to either of us. Even Rachel is trying to tell him that we're going to want time just between the two of us, but he doesn't get it. Oh, he gets it. He just doesn't give a shit. That's when he tells me that he's going to burn my trailer down. Thing is, I have been in a house fire before. I lost my house to one when I was 10 years old, and he knew this about me. I was seriously upset by this comment, and he never apologized for it. On another day, Catherine and I were discussing watching Dragon Maid together because she loves dragons, and I'd been wanting to watch it with her. This is an anime that Greg is a big fan of, and upon hearing that Catherine was planning to watch it with me, he blew up. He spent a good half hour pleading with Catherine to watch Dragon Maid with him. But of course Catherine kept turning him down because she already said she'd watch it with me and would rather do that anyway. All the while, my friend in the other room kept making jokes about how he sounded like one of those nice guys, which is what inspired me to write this. Eventually, he told her to literally break my promise to me. As I was there, trying to tell her that she constantly broke her promises in the past. Of course, she didn't back down, and he did at some point stop, but he was clearly really upset about it. Saying that he didn't know he had a chance to ask her, even though I heard her say many times that she hadn't watched it directly in his vicinity. So a few more days pass by. Greg asks Catherine if he can buy her chocolates on Valentine's Day, and Catherine just goes silent and sort of awkwardly says something like, yeah, sure, it won't be special, but I'll accept food from anyone. Greg keeps saying it's not a weird thing, but it's clear he just wants to flirt with her. Once again, she should be saying no to this. And he shouldn't be asking. Chocolates on Valentine's Day are definitely weird in a friend zone kind of situation like this. This all reaches a peak, however, when the three of us are in a call. We talk about our plans to hang out at my place, and Greg is doing his usual spiel of saying he wants to be involved in all of our activities. Even though some of them, well, aren't likely to be safe for work. When I try to explain this again, he just tells me this. Elaine, if you make me regret this, I'm going to punch you. I didn't realize exactly what he was implying at first, but this was enough to set Catherine off. She didn't go off on him in the call, but this seriously pissed her off, and then me too when it set in exactly what he was saying. She told her mom about it, and Greg was forbidden to come over or contact Catherine or myself again. He had been off his medication for weeks and hadn't seen a therapist in who knows how long. He'd only do those things when Catherine reminded him, so I'm beginning to think that he only cared when he thought it would make Catherine like him more. A few days later, I found out something else he did. He was hanging out with another friend of Catherine's, and during their outing he calls me a transgender whore. Thing is, the woman he was hanging out with also happened to be another trans woman. A detail he was aware of, by the way. The only reason she didn't say anything was because he was a ride home. This seriously pissed me off too. All because a girl he liked was talking to me? Thankfully though, the story has a happy ending. After that ordeal, Catherine's mom and my own discussed him and the danger he posed to us. She told us about how he'd been totally obsessed with her for years, and how she knew somebody just like Greg who murdered his girlfriend. She saw the same patterns in Greg and wanted to keep Catherine and I both safe. My mom understood, wanting to keep us both safe too. I also found out that the reason Greg lost all his money to the hotel was because he was peeping through the keyholes of other hotel guests. What the fuck? And I just thought the dude got legitimately scammed. And since then, Catherine and I haven't heard from him at all. We're both still super happy just talking with each other, and she still plans to visit me at my house. She's one of my favorite people in the world, and I couldn't be happier that Greg, the nice guy, couldn't drive a wedge between us. Maybe after his therapy, he'll change his ways and apologize, but in the meantime, he's far from us and can't do anything to sabotage our relationship. Man, that story about peeping through keyholes makes absolutely no sense. I mean, do hotels even have keyholes? And they just stole money from him instead of calling the cops? Well anyway, there might be some argument over how much this girl was leading him on. The author says she has a hard time saying no to people, and he has a hard time letting someone say no. So maybe just not the best situation overall. His moves are really transparent though. I wonder how many times he's tried to cockblock someone by just not going away, because that seems to be his signature move. Anyway, it's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you have something to say about the posts or the story, let me hear it in the comments. The almighty algorithm loves engagement, I hear. If you're new here, consider subscribing so you can see my new videos more easily. Since I just took a break, there should be more coming very soon. Thanks also to my generous patrons. They help me not to worry about monetization quite so much, so I can say things like fuck. I think up next might be a relationships video. I like making those. I'm still working on what to do for Halloween. I might actually make 2 different videos for it. We'll see. Have a great night, everyone, and remember, if she's not interested in you now, you probably won't change her mind with constant gifts that she didn't ask for.